What's up, guys? It's Sad Zilla with another episode of Zilla Mode, and today I want to talk about views, more importantly, social media views on things like TikTok or Instagram, and how I think there's a common misconception about whether or not going viral really, with the effect that actually has on your music career. If you're promoting your music on there and you're getting lots of views, how is that actually correlating with streams and streaming platforms, right? And that's what I want to talk about today, what the actual realities of this is. If you see somebody promoting their music on TikTok or Instagram and they're getting millions of views, your first thought is probably like, oh, they must be killing it on streaming. You know, their music must be going crazy. Their career must be blowing up right now, right? And after going through this myself, I can tell you that right now that's not usually the case. And I do not look at it like that anymore, because I did get around 100 million views across TikTok and Instagram over a few months last year. And, I was pushing those songs on short form content, and it completely changed the way that I look at going viral as an artist. So, a little bit of context. So, after the 365 project, where I was releasing a song every single day for what was going to be 365 days, I ended up just doing 150 days, and because I got really burnt out. So I took a break from that for a couple of months. And then I came back because around that time, one of my friends, he started kind of blowing up on TikTok. He had this like really strong look to him, a really strong brand that people were really locking in on this like whole vibe. Like he was kind of like creating this like cult fan base that people were really like tapping into, especially like younger people. It was one of those things like where it felt like he was building a real just strong following on the TikTok platform, and even to some certain degree on Instagram as well. And the most important thing for him, it was actually the converting. So his stuff was actually turning into streams in a real way, right? So he was getting millions of views, but it was actually converting to thousands of streams every single day. I think he went from like 100 or like 40,000 monthly listeners to like now I think he has like well over like 300,000 right now. So I'm thinking, all right, well, I already have songs with him. I might as well start pushing the songs that I have with him, use this as an opportunity for myself as well to help us both out. And maybe, I can get some of these eyeballs on some of the stuff that I've worked on with him. He can share it on TikTok and we can kind of help each other, right? So I posted a lot of these sillier songs that we have together, some stuff with more ridiculous lyrics, more baity kind of stuff, more of that, like, what am I even listening to kind of energy. It's the kind of stuff that gets people talking, right? That gets a lot of comments and a lot of views, a lot of shares, and it really worked. The video started doing crazy numbers. I gained, I think, somewhere around 40 to 50,000 followers during this time. The two main songs that I was pushing got around 1,000 streams a day each, which was really cool. So that was cool to see like some kind of conversion, even if they were like more like ridiculous songs, which we'll get into that later. It brought in this jump of monthly listeners that was really encouraging. It definitely felt like something was happening that I wanted to take advantage of, right? But even then, I started noticing this, this gap between the two, right? We're talking millions of streams, or sorry, millions of views converting to thousands of streams. Like it didn't really make a whole lot of sense, because when you see millions of views, you think that they're not a necessary 1-to-1 ratio conversion, but like something, but it wasn't even close, right? So it really wasn't that. And I think it had a lot to do with the songs, right? But we'll get into that in a second. So I started thinking, all right, if the silly stuff is getting reactions, let me come up with my own like meme type style song, right? And push that even more. And that's where Banana Phone came in. So I grew up listening to this this artist named Raffi. He had this song called Banana Phone. And one of my other artist friends, he had made this song called Banana Shake that he wanted me to get on. So I had like an open verse and everything. And I got to my part and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to say, or I'm going to scream Banana Phone, like before the drop. That'll probably do it, right? And I'm thinking like, that would be like something that would work really well on TikTok. And it did. I started making videos where I'd pick up a banana and I'd hold it up like a phone and I would scream Banana Phone, and that thing went crazy. Like everybody started sharing it, and we're talking millions and millions of views every single time I would post it. And when you add everything up from that era, I mean, honestly, we're talking like not just those videos, but like a huge portion of the views that I got. It was like around 1 million views total. if you're just looking at the views, you would think that those songs, this song specifically, would have gone insane. But when I looked at the actual like streaming side, it really changed my perspective because Banana Phone, for example, it peaked somewhere around 1,200 to 1,400 streams a day. And then it fell off pretty fast. Like we're talking like now, I think it gets like 150 streams maybe at most on a lucky day, on a good day. And now is one of the first moments where I had to stop and go, okay, hold on, because those numbers sound huge on social media. They look huge. They feel like they're big, but when I looked at like what they actually turned into, it was like way less than I ever thought it would be. And then there was another song where my friend did the 6-7 song. So he took, the meme, the 6-7 meme, and he really like blew it up. It's like the 6-7 song. So if you're a kid and you know about the 6-7 meme or whatever, and you look up, well, what's that 6-7 song? And you look it up, like that's what would pop up. So it did really freaking well on all social media, everywhere. Like kids are going crazy over this song, right? And it did really good. So me and my friend, we came up with this other idea called 789. So basically we thought of the joke, why was 6 afraid of 7? It's because 7, 8, 9. So we were like, oh, this kind of plays into this 6-7 thing of it all. So let's turn this into a song. And like, honestly, it was like one of the more better produced songs that I've done. And like concept wise and everything, how we did it, I mean, it was pretty decent. It was definitely not as much of a joke, but it was still a joke as Banana Phone. And we did that with my other friend that did the 6-7 song. So it did, he was promoting it, I was promoting it, the other artist was promoting it as well. And so we really blew this thing up as much as we could. We're getting millions and millions of views on all of our accounts. And then it converted to maybe like 2,500 streams daily. And now it does way less than that, maybe a couple of hundred at most. So this is what I'm talking about. So after seeing this happen more than once, I started realizing that the problem wasn't the content wasn't working. The content was working. It was getting the views. It was getting, the shares, the followers, the replay value. Everything was there. But the problem is that the song itself wasn't connecting in the same way that the content was. And that was a huge difference, right? Because getting somebody to watch something on TikTok is just not the same as getting them to leave TikTok and then go to Spotify, search a song, and actually listen to it. And that's a way bigger ask than I think people even realize. I mean, when somebody's scrolling, they're in that mode. They're in the swiping mode. So they're just consuming, they're just, reacting, they're commenting, they're liking, whatever, they're in their own world. So it's really hard to take them out of that world and get them to go to Spotify to go stream something. It doesn't automatically mean that they want to go stream the song, even if they like the song or they found your video to be funny or entertaining in some way. It doesn't mean that they're actually going to go out of their way, leave the app, leave the experience they're currently in, and go to Spotify to listen to that song. There was a band that I kept on hearing on TikTok over and over again, and I really liked the song. It was super catchy. I thought I liked the band. I thought I liked the clips that I was hearing. I always had it in my head, and it was just like, it was infectious. I loved the song, right? And even with all that, I still didn't go listen to the full song. Like until like a month and a half later did I actually go listen to the song. And even after I did, it still wasn't something that I kept running back to every day. And I could say that, oh yeah, that's a great song. I love the song, but I'm not streaming it on a daily basis. One, because I just don't really listen to a whole lot of music all the time, but it didn't get me to break out of the world, that everything that I have going on in my life, everything that's, what's going on, to go and listen to that song on a regular basis. And a lot of people have a lot of things that they're doing, or it could just be, scrolling on TikTok. So that alone should tell you how hard that jump really is to a listener. And that's why I think a lot of artists get tricked by these views and like what the views actually mean, because the views feel like they're proof of concept. They feel like it's something huge that's happening and something is happening. But, I mean, you might be getting awareness for you as an artist. You might be getting followers or some kind of short-term motion, like a brand awareness maybe. But if the song doesn't really connect, then that attention just lives and dies on TikTok, on Instagram. And that's what I started seeing too. Once I got tired of leaning so hard into the meme stuff, I started pushing like things that were a little bit more serious, or at least a little bit more real to me. And yeah, some of those followers were still there for a minute, and some of that attention carried over for a little bit. But over time, if people followed you mainly for the meme stuff now, that's what they expect from you. So if your new stuff didn't fit that same reason that they followed you in the first place, maybe it just doesn't carry over as much, maybe those views start dying off, those followers start dying off, not literally, but they have to be replaced with new listeners that maybe give you less views and maybe is a more niche audience, but now they appreciate your stuff a little bit more. So it really showed me that a lot of this attention, even if it was a lot, it was temporary. And that's why a song like the one that I released after the meme stuff stood out so much to me, because it got way less attention. I think maybe like 30 to 40,000 views, and so nowhere near what the meme stuff got, but the conversion was way better, right? That song got up to around 500 streams a day, and even now it still does around 150 a day, which is like what Banana Phone does with millions of views. So you see what I'm saying? Are you picking up what I'm putting down here? And so the reason that people were actually connecting to it is because they weren't just reacting to a joke. They weren't just like hearing it and going, aha, this is funny or whatever, and then laughing about it and sharing it to their friends, but they don't actually go listen to it. They said, no, oh, wait, like this is actually good. This actually has something to it, right? And that's a way better result. If they can connect to the lyrics, if they connect to the song in a real way, it's going to convert better, even if it doesn't get as much views. So that's something that I really want you to keep in mind. I've noticed the same thing even with like nerdcore stuff that I'm doing now. Right now, I've been making a lot of Overwatch songs, like Overwatch themes. And if I make a song about a specific Overwatch character or some other fandom thing, like even if the views are smaller, the conversion is usually better because those people have an entry point, right? They have something that they can kind of go off of, something that they're already connected to. There's a reason already inherently to care, even if they don't know who I am. The song is meeting them somewhere instead of just trying to like bait a reaction. And that's really the lesson. If it's not that views aren't important. It's not that they're useless. It's just that it's not going viral is not bad. It's just that meme content can't really help you if it doesn't connect to that audience, right? It's much better to have lower views on something that connects to an audience in a real way that gets them to go stream it. It doesn't have to necessarily be serious, but it could be like, oh, it's a really catchy song. I have it in my head and I want to go listen to it. It could be something like that. It could be something simple like that. It doesn't have to be like, something like, oh, it makes me cry or makes me angry or whatever. No, as long as it connects in a real way, and a good song is going to be a good song. If it's not there, it's just not there. So it doesn't matter how much views you get. If they don't like the song for the song, they're not going to go stream it. And the lesson I think that I'm just trying to say is that it's not equal, not in any way. The views don't matter as much as we like to make them out to be. And I would rather have a song get a lot less attention and connect deeply to somebody than get a giant wave of views that doesn't really turn into anything that lasts, right? Because at the end of the day, I'd rather have a song doing consistent 200 to 300, 500 streams a day because people actually care about it than have like a huge viral moment that spikes and then just falls off. That changed the way that I looked around about all of this. And now I care way less about the big numbers and way more about just getting the right songs in front of the right people, because the right people with less views will always beat the wrong people with millions. So anyway, let me know what you guys think. Let me know down in the comments, if you guys have any questions about this topic or anything else that you guys want me to talk about. Just let me know down there. I try to answer all the comments. So anyway, until the next episode, Zilla out.